Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another wonderful round brought to you by the Sim Racers Room. We're finishing up the Solo Endurance League Championship of 2025. This is Season 1, Week 6. We're racing at Spa-Francorchamps, folks. We've got plenty of race action coming to you in just a few moments' time, but the drivers are getting ready for qualifying session. Let's talk about the conditions that the drivers are facing right now. It's looking like 69 degrees, 93% chance of rain. Well, a little bit more than that. It is actually raining right now. The clouds are showing overcast, but they're pouring down cats and dogs. 7 miles per hour crosswind coming in at you. Track length of 4.3 miles around Spa-Francorchamps. We've got plenty of stuff to talk about. And the temperature is 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Altitude 1518. Got a couple keys to the race for you, folks. Make sure you balance your aero package. Last thing you want to do is be slow in the straightaways and fast in the corners, or vice versa. You don't want to be slow into the corners but fast on the straightaways. You need to have a good balance of your aero package, folks. This is a 1 hour race, so managing your tire wear and the tire temperatures is going to be imperative. Making sure they don't cool down coming down the Kemmel Straight before you hit Lacombe or Malmedy. You've got to have your tires in the right window. So managing your fuel ducts, very important. Managing the fuel loads as well, minimizing your pit stops. It is a very long pit stop here at Spa-Francorchamps, so making sure that you manage your fuel load and take a minimum amount as required. And avoiding track limits. We have this corner right here, a Blanchimont, where you can get track limits. And of course, a Rouge going up the hill towards Radion. We're going to have track limits violations there as well. Don't forget about Pouan, or double gauche, right after Speaker's Corner, the double left-hand corner, as it were. If this excites you, if this gets you energized, join us on Discord. The link is in the QR code down in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, and it will pop up intermittently in the top right-hand corner of your screen. Without any further delay, let's head right over to the qualifying session and see what some of these drivers are up to. But first, we need to talk about the point standings. I apologize. We have Adi Nagel for Team Nagel with 84 points. He's pretty much walking away with it, but sitting in 5th place right now in the order. He's got to do some work to clinch a hat-trick victory here. Team Silva with 66 points. 1 point separates himself from Marsan with 65 points. Arundel with 62 points, 2 points separating himself from Narcy, and Narcy with 60 points. Edwards with 57, Daniel with 56, 57 for Duploy, Jared Miller with 44, Mooten with 34 points, Roberts with 31, tied with Moss for that 31-point lead over Geyser, Nicholson, Jallier, Danko, Harrison, Singh, and we've got to scroll down. Eastman, Tellis, Romani, Ian Lance, and Kevin Burke rounding out the participants here today. 23 drivers have taken to the grid. We've only got a handful here tonight under these stormy and tricky conditions, but the conditions will only prove to provide more excellent racing. Looking forward to the next season, which will be the Porsche Championship. Let's take a look at what the drivers are doing on the racing circuit now. 2:48 seems to be the time of the day right now, placed by Silva. Then we have Declan Daniel in 2nd place, Roloff Mooten in 3rd place, and Adi Nagel in 4th place with a 2:54.98. Quite the spread here between the top 4, and we are seeing yellow flags out for Daniel here, and this is going to be a combined qualifying session. So if you're used to solo qualifying, things are going to get a little bit trickier for you folks. Making sure you stay calm, cool, and collected during these tricky conditions. We've got about half of the qualifying remaining right now. 8:51 on the clock, and it's ticking away. as the drivers come through the back end of the circuit and on their way through Campus Stavelot, Corbet Paul Ferrer, and then head down into the tricky corner of Blanchimont. See if we can ride on board with Declan Daniel here. See how he navigates Blanchimont. Ooh, a bit of oversteer as he comes through Blanchimont as he got on the accelerator pedal. Then all the way over to the far left as you prepare for the bus stop chicane, but you don't want to mount the curbs because you can see how much standing water there is right now. It is absolutely imperative that you stay away from them. Even towards the exit, he does manage to avoid the curbs to avoid slipping those wheels. Nigel with a 250.227. Daniel not being able to set a time. Sunday with a 250.262 right now. And Mooten right now in the pit lane. He's going to have to get the hurry up and go on if he wants a chance at getting some more runs. Let's walk through a lap here as we have on-board data with Daniel. Coming up the hill through Arouge and Radion, oh my goodness, keeping the car in a straight line, but taking track limits there. That'll be an invalid lap, and he pulls over to the side to let another car through who is on a valid lap. Moves back over to the left-hand side as we come down the Kemmel Straight and we enter Lacombe. He's off the gas pretty early here and onto the brakes very softly for the right left-hander. Coming through Lacombe, and Malmedy is going to be this long right-hander. Again, not mounting the curbs either way on entry or on exit. Declan Daniel is very careful here. Coming down the hill, this is an off-camber corner of Brussels. And he's doing a good job to drive it in pretty deep there and gets on the gas and almost has a huge oversteer moment, but manages to collect it. Coming through Speaker's Corner, aka No Name Corner, he does a good job again avoiding the curbs, slowing down a little bit on the straightaway, headed down towards Pouan. Again, off the accelerator, quick downshift into third gear to keep the car balanced and to get some rotation. Arundel with a 248.534. That will be our pole position time for now. And thwarts the attempts of Silva in the Audi RLMS. No, excuse me, that would be the Evo 2. In the Evo 2 by a tenth and a bit. Daniel is 2 and a bit tenths back right now. Declan Daniel for Calypso Racing coming through Stavelot. You can see how much spray is coming up from the driver out in front of him. Another quick downshift as he slows down to build some pace. Silva throws down the gauntlet, comes right back with a 246.701 as a 1.8 second gap back to Arundel. The man has found some pace and consistency here at Spa-Francorchamps. He has only increasingly improved his lap times over and over again. Let's take a look at Silva driving this Audi Evo 2. It looks pretty snazzy from my point of view up here in the blimp. Take a look at it from the TV camera as well. The number 141 from South Africa. Doing well to improve. Is he improving on this lap as well? It doesn't look like it. Top speed coming down the Kemmel Straight is going to be 230. Peter Arundel matches that time as he slides it into the Kemmel curves. Absolutely amazing control from Guilherme Silva. Check back in with Declan Daniel here for just a few moments. I want to keep my eye on this driver. He's seemingly doing very well with his lap time over and over again, but he just manages to get it a little bit wrong coming through Radion. That's the uphill part. Arouge is where you bottom out the car into the left-hander, and Radion being the hill section of Spa-Francorchamps, and he goes off at Brussels. And that might be it for his qualifying time, folks. 13:55 on the clock, and he does warp back to pit lanes. That will call it a day for Declan Daniel. Super unfortunate. The man had a lot of pace, but this is a 1 hour race, folks. We have 1 hour to make these determinations and find out who is the fastest driver here at Spa-Francorchamps. We have plenty of time, and it's all about consistency here. Avoiding the slowdown penalties, avoiding track limits. This is going to be imperative to the drivers' improvement up and down the grid. We're, of course, going to start out 2x2 Noah's Ark formation for this run. But again, it's all about this consistency. Who is going to just put in times lap after lap with avoiding those slowdown penalties, with avoiding collisions with other drivers, and who is going to pull off the fuel strategy, because we will have a pit stop required for most of these drivers, and they're not going to be able to make it to the end all on their own. So finding out who is going to be doing what is going to be very, very tricky. We'll keep an eye on the pit timing tower and find out who's doing what and who's going where. But for now, it'll be Guilherme Silva in P1, Peter Arundel in P2. And actually, I believe we can do... This does not work. I apologize. Go back over to the race standings. It'll be Guilherme Silva in P1. And then we have Peter Arundel in P2. Benson Sunday in 3. Declan Daniel in 4th. Adi Nagel in 5th. Roloff Mouton in 6th. Julian Narcy in 7th. Jared Miller in 8th. Morn Duploy in 9th. And Nathan Ford in 10th. And Jaden Harrison J rounding things out from the back of the grid. We have a good mix of licenses here as well. We have A, B, and C class drivers ranging from 4.99 all the way down to 2.3 in the A class. A B rating for Roloff Mutton with 3.65. And the C licenses, 3.23 for Guilherme Silva and Nathan Ford for 2.35. This will bring up some very interesting questions on how this will fare for the drivers once they get wheel to wheel. How much time and experience do they have wheel to wheel racing? How much experience do they have in these tricky conditions? How many times have you practiced being offline, folks? That will be the real determinator of who's able to make these passes happen. Many drivers do not practice when they are offline, and that is imperative to good racecraft, of course. It is one thing to be fast on the racing line. It is a complete other conversation to be had when you're talking about making a move towards the inside line for a place that you've never had to brake before in conditions you've never had to brake before for. So, we are just a few minutes away from the end of the qualifying session, and I believe the drivers are getting gridded up right now. I believe Jaden Harrison J is on the grid, and so is Adi Nagel. Just waiting for the drivers to get gridded up. Do a short formation lap before we go green, 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 folks. Stand by for just a few moments, and we'll be right back. If this is a championship series you'd like to get involved in, or you'd like to see more of SRR, please join us on the Discord channel. QR code in the top right-hand corner of your screen. Go ahead and scan it with your phone right now, and you'll be sent over to the Discord invite link, where you can find out more about the Porsche Cup Challenge that will be happening in just a few weeks' time, where you can get wheel-to-wheel with some of these drivers and maybe some sunnier conditions as well. Very much looking forward to that championship. It will continue to be broadcast, folks. So just stand right on by and wait for that championship series to take place, because that will be a hoot, holler, and good time for sure. We're just around a minute away from getting rolling here. Drivers are officially gridding up as we speak. You can see in the top left-hand corner of your screen, the race clock is ticking away. 1 hour will be on the clock for the drivers to race for the best endurance race that they can possibly produce here at Spa-Francorchamps. Let's talk a little bit about the track one more time. We've got a track length of 4.3 miles or 7 kilometers long. Founded in 1921, it's been the current layout since 2022. We're located in Francorchamps, Belgium. 19 corners, 9 to the right, 10 to the left, fairly even for the tire wear. 103 meters or 337 feet of elevation change. We've got a 1.05 kilometer long straightaway. That'll be the Kemmel Straight. And then a 6.5 mile long straightaway if you're in imperial units. Standard units, imperial units. Several notable drivers have won their first Formula One race at the iconic Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. Notable examples include Michael Schumacher, Kimi Räikkönen, and Daniel Ricciardo. The first Formula One race at Spa-Francorchamps took place in 1950, and the winner was none other than Juan Manuel Fangio. He won the inaugural Belgian Grand Prix in 1950, which was part of the very first Formula One World Championship season. We are officially rolling now, everybody. Safety car has their lights off. They will be pulling into the grid. We're going to keep our eye on the field as they roll in. The blimp cam slightly buggered up. We've got a lot of fog in this overcast weather that we're facing right now. We have a variety of cars taking to this grid. Audi, Porsches, McLarens, AMG Mercedes, BMWs, and even an Acura NSX. Of course, depending on what part of the world you're in, it could be an Acura NSX or it could be a Honda NSX. In ACC, you're going to find it being a Honda. But here on iRacing, we're going to find that being an Acura. The drivers, side by side, getting ready to take the green flag here. And we are rolling, but the green flag has not flown yet. Green, 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 away we go. That's a good breakaway for Silva right now as we approach turn one. La Source, side by side for Peter and Declan Daniel coming through La Source. Everybody is very clean right now on the tip of the spear. It'll be Guilherme Silva, Peter Arundel, Declan Daniel, Jaden Harrison J, who's gained 4 positions off the start. Amazing job for him already. Benson Sunday has lost 2. Roloff Mutton back where he started in 6th position. Adi Nagel very close by. Here we have Jaden Harrison J. Let's take a look on board for this shot right now. Just cannot see anything out of that front windscreen right now. He is absolutely blinded by the spray from the car in front. That'll be Declan Daniel, the car in front right now. He's doing a good job maintaining the safe gap. Here is Jaden Harrison with a big thumbs up right now, and he should be pretty pleased with himself as he's gained those 4 positions. Makes a look to the inside line, coming through Russell. Can't find the daylight there. Bit of an oversteer moment as he got on the accelerator, and that'll be tricky to come back from. But he's watching Peter Arundel out in front suffer the same consequences right now. Everybody is balancing on the tip of their toes, trying to keep their cars in a straight line. Jaden Harrison moves to the inside line to avoid the overspray from the car in front. The AMG of Declan Daniel having a bit of a wiggle coming through Poulan right now. It is a bit of topsy-turvy racing. And there goes Declan Daniel off into the kitty litter right now, coming through Piff Paff. And that'll be worse for wear for him. But he is managing to collect himself. Benson Sunday, in 5th place right now, rejoins right behind Declan Daniel. And we have a bit of a squabble for the best of the rest right now. The front 3 runners are already gapping at a rate faster than not, 3.9 seconds the gap. All drivers are on the wet compound of tires. Nobody is crazy enough to try to make it work on the dries. Coming through the bus stop chicane, Addy Nagel, a little bit slower than the other drivers around him. Had a nice sub 1 second gap to Mooten out in front of him, but now it is a 1.6 second gap. 3 minutes have reached the clock right now of this 1 hour race, and the drivers are still staying very close together, but developing a little bit of a gap so that they don't catch the spray of the cars in front of them. Just want to point out, we do have a C license driver leading the charge right now. Best lap 2:48.35 on that previous lap. Top speed was 2:31 coming down the Kemmel Straight. And he has bested some of the A-class drivers, such as Peter Arundel with 4.99 rating. A 1929 I rating driver besting some of these 3K folks right now. Even Declan Daniel close to 4K. 3.927 being his charge right now. Can Guilherme Silva keep it up? I'm not so sure. Watching the timing tower and the intervals between the drivers right now. A bit of a better view than the gaps overall, as it shows the relative between the drivers forwards and backwards. 2.8 the gap right now between the leader and Peter Arundel, that 3.3K rated driver. Jaden Harrison J in 3rd. The man on a mission has gained 5 positions, started off the race in 8th place, now resting his head easily on a podium potentially. Doing a good job of keeping this exciting for us. Watching the drivers come through Blanchimont, and there goes Arundel off at Blanchimont. Just sent it a little too hard, carrying the beans, and that'll send Arundel down into P3, even P4 right now, and this is going to be a side-by-side run into the bus stop chicane. Arundel on the outside line can't make a defensive move happen. That'll promote Declan Daniel back up into 3rd position. He's up 1 from where he started. Arundel down 2 from where he started. And I think we're going to see a little bit of heebie-jeebie race action coming forward. Second lap underway. The number 62 goes deep and wide at turn 1. Allows Declan Daniel to carry the speed all the way through La Source, down the hill into Eau Rouge and up the hill through Radillon. Doing a good job keeping it calm, cool, and collected. That's your man, Declan Daniel. Jaden Harrison J up 6 positions now. Man hailing from Jamaica. I believe that is flag. And we have yellow flag out for Miller right now. Is Miller okay? Should have just come through the bus stop chicane. No, not through the bus stop chicane. Up the hill through Eau Rouge. And he is doing okay. Went off track, came back on track is what race control is telling me. So all is good for Jared right now. Here the boys come down through Pouan. It's looking pretty sketchy right now, if I would say so myself. Oh, the McLaren might go a little bit deep and off the racing circuit. No, he does not. But definitely was a Code Brown moment for Benson Sunday. Jaden Harrison J has the new best time in the field, a 2:47.26 on that previous lap, chopped out 2 seconds from the race leader nearly. .247.249, 247.010. Again, the driver is producing faster and faster lap times, but Jaden Harrison J, the driver in P2, is the one with the fastest time right now. Chopped out just about a quarter of a second from the race leader. And as long as he keeps on plugging away like that, he will be in a very good position. Benson Sunday chopped out 1 second from Peter Arundel in P4. The driver we're looking at right now is Sunday. We're not seeing any other major gainers right now on these laps. Peter Arundel, of course, having that moment at Blanchimont on the previous lap. Getting onto the curb is the 868 of Benson Sunday. He manages to keep the car collected underneath him, somehow, some way, doing a good job. In the battle for 5th, we have Sunday with Mooten in 6th place right now. And McLaren 868 trying to make himself as wide as possible, but the 124 chases him down. Big BMW loses it for just a moment there. Getting onto the brakes, collects himself, comes through Stavlot pretty cleanly, but loses the momentum that he desperately needed. Stepping out of the slipstream to avoid the giant mist that is developing. The rooster tails are more like peacock feathers now, blocking all possible view of the car in front of you. As we saw earlier on in the race, McLaren on the brakes gets a little squirrely whirly there. Mooten trying to take advantage of the situation into the bus stop chicane, looking pretty clean and tidy. Let's take a look at the lap times one more time. 2:46 for the leader, 2:47 for Jay, 2:48 for Declan Daniel, 2:48 for Aaron Dell, 2:50 for Sunday, and 2:50 as well for Mooten. Miguel with a 2:51, 2:52 for Dupuy, and Jared Miller is into pit lane. If we can get a glimpse of what's happening here down pit road. I'm not seeing Jared Miller anymore on my timing tower. He must have called it quits there. As we head back over to the leaders, that is unfortunate there to lose one of our combatants for the Spa-Francorchamps weather. That Audi just spitting fire right now, trying to keep away from Harrison J from behind, who has gained 6th position and is on a charge to gain 7. That Audi is getting awfully squirrely, and you can hear it sputtering as it loses its traction. I wonder what that's doing to the tire wear of the vehicle. Can't be too healthy on charge. Oh, and Guilherme Silva loses it through the bus stop chicane. Sent it a little too deep. I don't think he got track limits there, keeping 2 wheels on the black stuff as much as possible, but he did lose out a significant amount of time. Now let's see what the gap ends up being. A 2:47.53 to a 2:46.99. So really only cost him about half a second, but mistakes like that will continue to stack up in Harrison J's favor as he keeps it clean. The man rocking the black, yellow, and green livery is looking prime right now. Ooh, and the number 11 cooks it coming into the combs. He's also getting a little bit squirrely right now, maybe pushing those tires a little too far. It looks like Guilherme Silva is off at Blanchimont, or excuse me, Brussels. And the gap's come down to 1.2 seconds between the front runners. Keeping an eye on this battle will be the spotlight that we want to keep an eye on. More deploy, yellow flag there. I believe that was just an off track and then rejoin. Yes, assuming that was at turn 3. Let's go on board with Harrison J. To the inside line into campus. Tries to go for an undercut, can't make it work. No daylight there between the Audi and the curbing. Oh, and you could see both drivers squirming right now as they try to push as hard as possible. The gap is just half a second between the two front runners. This is very exciting stuff. The 3.5K iRating driver up against the 1.9K iRating driver. Who's going to come out on top? We still have over 45 minutes left of this race, but they're battling like their lives depend on it right now. Into the bus stop chicane. Nobody's going to cook it here. The Audi on the defensive just a little bit there towards the inside line. It's not going to affect Jaden Harrison J as he's on the optimal line coming through the chicane. Sits in the slipstream of the car in front. Gained about 2 seconds on that previous lap, and you can tell because it was around 2.8 seconds just a lap ago. Harrison J on the inside of LaSource. Very good corner entry for him. The exit not as great as the Audi as he pummels his way down a Rouge and into Radillon. Excuse me, that McLaren is awfully rapid in a straight line, and Guilherme Silva gets a yellow flag. I believe he cut the track there. Coming up the hill through Radillon. Back to Jaden Harrison J. I believe that should be a slowdown for Guilherme Silva. Drivers out here for Sim Racers Room, just seemingly having a good time and having some fun. 11 drivers have taken to the grid, but we're down to just 9 drivers right now as Narcy sets a 3:03.528. Closing out the backside of the track, Harrison J really looking like he wants to make a move here. Coming into the bus stop as close as he possibly can be to the rear end of Guilherme Silva, who's driving the 141. Looks to the inside line for the braking zone of the bus stop chicane, but the Audi maintains his lead for now. Seemingly the rain has gone. 246.4, 246.6 on the timing tower, respective of the front runners. Top speed in a straight line, Guilherme Silva is a 237 compared to Jaden Harrison J with a 234 top speed, 238 for Declan Daniel. Wow. The rain is still continuing, as we can see from the TV camera. But it's seemingly coming down a lot less than it has been. So are we going to see a dry line forming for the drivers here in a little bit of time? McLaren gets a little squirrely. Again, the Audi goes super deep at Brussels, losing out heaps of time. Peter Arundel off track again, rejoins the racing circuit. That'll be 3 off tracks for him. And here it is, a nice big run at it. And I think he's got the overlap secured. Side by side, a little bit of door banging for sure, as the drivers just touch a little bit, but Jaden Harrison J makes the move stick around Guilherme Silva. Now Guilherme Silva is trying to snap back here. I'm sure he will. I think he can. Makes a look towards the inside line. Can't find the room to make a run. Now the Audi in the slipstream has the tow coming through Blanchimont. Too far back to make a move into the bus stop chicane. The McLaren swerves over to the racing line just a little bit, but loses traction getting on the accelerator through the bus stop. McLaren a little squirrelier than I think that Jaden Harrison J would like, but I think that might be his driving style. New fastest lap on the board, 2:43.74. Misses the apex by a mile, Harrison J does. Closing down the gap, Guilherme Silva. This is Season 1 of the Solo Endurance League, brought to you by Sim Racers Room. If you're interested in joining or becoming a participant in any of these races, please join us on Discord. Scan that QR code on the top right-hand corner of your screen and join in on the fun and action. Porsche Cup Championship coming up soon. You want to be there or you'll be square, folks. Go ahead and join. Oh, no! The 141 passes the number 11 at Brussels. Has a bit of a slip and slide moment. Manages to maintain his composure, but he's in the grips of Declan Daniel now. And I was just talking about that driver of the McLaren, the number 11 of Jaden Harrison J, driving that thing on its edge of limit. We're seeing him incur a lot of traction loss coming through some of these corners. He was a little bit sketchy in some parts, and I think that eventually caught up with him. He will be a little bit more timid now going into these corners on the brakes, using the traction control to modulate rather than his right foot. And Arundel charging up the field with a 2:41.59 now. Looking like he wants a piece of the pie. Arundel driving the Porsche, who had a big off early on in the race. Down 2 positions from where he started, but working his way through the grid. And now Harrison J has passed Guilherme Silva. The Audi having a big moment coming up the hill. Let's see if we can get a replay of what happened there. Ooh, big crash into the wall at the top of the hill. That'll be some major damage. And his car is just tracking sideways now. Oh man, oh man. What a phenomenal race for Guilherme Silva. Just absolutely crushing now as the car is rolling in sideways right now. Nothing he can do to correct that. And he pirouettes again at No Name Speaker's corner. He's got a long way to go before he can catch back up to pit lane. Just looking at the point standings right now, it was Adi Nagel in P1 with 84 points, Guilherme Silva in P2 with 66 points, needed to stay ahead of Andrew Marsan in P3, Peter Arundel in 4th, and that will be it for Silva. He's going to warp to pit lane, take the tow. And this man right here, Jaden Harrison J, up 7 positions now, ahead of Declan Daniel and Peter Arundel, who are the new podium sitters. Again, it looks like it's not raining at this part of the track, so expect improved lap times. There it is, a 2:49.85, 2:43.95. I assume that will be an off-track moment, not being the fastest lap there for Declan Daniel. Peter Arundel crosses the line with a 2:41.33. Benson Day, 2:43.89. Adi Nagel, your championship leader right now, 2:43.21. And Adi looks like he is out just for a Sunday drive, keeping the number 78 calm, cool, and collected. Telling himself, I just need to make it to the checkered flag to secure my victory in the championship. And he's definitely not wrong about that. Adi, 0 off tracks so far in this race. Driving it well within his limits of comfort. And it does appear that a dry line is forming, as spots of water seemingly are disappearing from the racing surface. One of the things I absolutely love about iRacing is how well they manage the track. A lot less spray coming up from the drivers right now. Also, the rooster tails are just looking like rooster tails. No more peacock feathers blocking imperial amounts of view. And it looks like Guilherme Silva is out of pit lane. Coming out in 8th place, 7 positions back from where he started. Absolute inverse of Jaden Harrison J, the number 11, who's gained 7 positions. And we have Declan Daniel, Peter Arundel, Benson Day, Adi Nagel, the driver we're on board with, looking at right now. Roll off Mooten in 6th. Morn Deploy in 7th. And Guilherme Silva in 8th. Julian Narcy in 9th. Halfway through this event already, I can't believe it. 31 minutes down of this 1 hour race. Starting to see a little bit of a gap come down between Declan Daniel and Harrison J out in front. Keeping an eye on this battle. Previous lap times 2:39.2 to 2:38.9. Not a significant amount of lumberjacking going on to the timing tower, but enough to keep us interested. And who knows how pit stop strategies will fare for the drivers as well. Checking in with the YouTube chat, let me know who you're cheering for or who you're potentially rooting for to win this race. And Harrison into pit lane right at the halfway mark. Gives me a little bit of insight as to what Declan Daniel is doing, though. And two drivers in pit road. That'll be Aaron Dell as well as Jaden Harrison J. A lot of the drivers making the pit stop call right at the halfway point. Ooh, wow. A move around the outside coming up the hill through Radion. That'll be Harrison. Arundel, third place, 11.5 seconds down from Harrison. That must have been Mooten that was in pit lane. Or Narcy, excuse me. That must have been Narcy coming up the hill with Jaden Harrison J. Because Mooten is still in pit lane right now. Seeing the pit lane times being around 49.50 seconds. More deploy, actually the fastest of all the pit lane times right now with the 44.0. Second stationary for Mooten. Pit lane time of 1:10.2. Declan Daniel coming down pit road this time. Let's see where Harrison is in relation around the track. Coming through Blanchimont now, the kink. through the bus stop chicane. Closing down 500 feet. Daniel is on pit road exit. He is looking like he had a very good pit stop time, 18.13 seconds. They're going to come out side by side. Down the hill we plummet. The AMG out in front of the McLaren, and we've got a battle on our hands, folks. The Battle of the Goliaths, 3.9K I rating for Declan Daniel, 3.5K for Jaden Harrison J. Big heavy hitters in the iRacing community, it would seem. And the track keeps drying up that much more, but the McLaren still having traction loss coming out the exit of Brussels. Manages to keep the car underneath him, but just barely. That's where we saw him have an incident earlier on in the race. Coming through double gauche, aka Poulon. What could have been and what could have was for Guilherme Silva, a 2:46 pit lane time, 2:40 being his service, having to get all that damage repaired. Battle for the lead. Half a second separating Declan Daniel and Jaden Harrison J coming into the bus stop chicane on the brakes so deep. Jaden Harrison J does a great job of managing his composure. Now he's going to look towards the inside line coming into La Source. Will he make a move? He's looking. Will he act on it? No. Follows in single file line into La Source. Forces the 31 to go a little bit defensive. The AMG out in front, driven by Declan Daniel. Lap 14 now completed. Both drivers maintaining track limits coming up the hill through Radion. Passing the DRS board, but there's no drag reduction system, just the slipstream that's available. It looks like Jaden Harrison J is on the inside line in an attacking position, but doesn't go for an aggressive move just yet. Knows that there's still 20 minutes on the clock. Plenty of time to pounce, waiting for a mistake. Now is a good opportunity to move to the outside line. A little bit of overlap, a little bit of door banging, expecting a little bit more room for racing there, completely side by side. And this is where Jaden Harrison J thrives in these slippery conditions. On the outside line, carrying more speed and momentum than his opposing driver. Has a bit of a tank slapper though. Recovers well. Forces the AMG behind to stay behind. Declan Daniel this time heavy on the brakes. Coming into the bus stop chicane, looking for an aggressive maneuver into La Source. Swerves over to the inside line, out of the slipstream. Follows in single file though. Returns to the racing line. The number 31 trails Jaden Harrison J. Lap times 2:37.88, 2:38.64, respectively. Peter Arundel 2:43.59, 2:40 for Benson Sunday. Expect that gap to come down. The interval 30 seconds between the drivers though. A little bit of swerving down the straight for Jaden Harrison J to cover off the inside line. Returning to the racing line, though, in due fashion. So 2 moves allowed and taken. Wowza, the gap between the AMG and the McLaren. Cannot slip a credit card in between them. Looks to the inside line for Brussels. Can't find any room there. The number 31 stays nice and tight there. Into Pouan. Harrison J leaves a little bit more room than he'd like coming through Pouan. AMG way far off and wide. That'll be Declan Daniel going off the racing surface, opening up the gap to 1.5 seconds between himself and Harrison J. Going to be a slow lap time this time around for Declan Daniel. Compared to Jaden Harrison J. The gap is coming down through Blanchimont at a rate faster than not. Was a 1.5 second gap, now down to just 3/4 of a second. And it really looks like the rain has stopped. AMG misses the apex by a mile. The McLaren on the attacking run. Declan Daniel a bit faster coming through Rouge and Radillon. McLaren a little bit deep and wide. Down the hill into Brussels. Big pincher move down into Brussels, keeping him honest on the racing line is the number 31. Closer than ever. Now on an attack into No Name. That opportunity does not exist. Maybe into Pouan, things will look a little bit brighter. Looks to the inside line, forces Jaden Harrison J to leave a little bit of room on that inside in case he ran deep and wide. But the gap non-existent for Declan Daniel to make an attacking opportunity work. No off track there for Declan Daniel. Managed to keep two wheels on the curbing. Another run down the hill for the AMG and the McLaren. Lap 17 now completed. 47 minutes on the clock have ticked by. We're racing close as ever. Less than half a second between the race leaders right now. Still undecided who will walk away with this championship. Again, weaving down the straightaway for both drivers, trying to find a little bit of an opportunity to make a move. There's a big lunge up the inside through Malmedy. Now the big pincer move coming down the hill into Brussels. Does he go for a switchback into Brussels up the inside line? But we all know that the inside turns into the outside for the following corner. Follows in single file for now. On board with the AMG, up the hill into Pouhon we go. A little bit of a slip and slide for the McLaren. The AMG follows through. Love these onboard shots. Whoa, big puddle of water for Declan Daniel. Forced him offline for just a brief moment. Beautiful blimp cam shot showing how the drivers negotiate the bus stop chicane. More wiggles from both the drivers. Oh, Guilherme Silva crashed again. And Julian Nars crashed again. Let's see if we can get a glimpse of what happened to Silva. Don't want to miss any of this racing action, but we will check out what happened to Silva in just a moment. Let's take a quick... Oh, no. No, we won't, because that AMG keeps on looking like he wants to make a move. We don't want to dip away from this battle anytime soon. Down the hill, Pouhon again. 51 minutes passed on the clock. Now we'll look and see what happened to Silva here. Coming up the hill through Eau Rouge. Good pirouette. Managed to keep the car beneath him. Good job. The tires absolutely roasted. Trusting the car a lot more, Declan Daniel closes down the gap from 0.8 of a second to nearly just half a second as we approach the bus stop chicane. See that time just fluttering away. Aaron Dell pulls out the fastest lap of the race, a 2:35.99. Man has chopped down a 20-second gap between himself and Declan Daniel, and I believe that was a 30-second gap not too many laps ago. Both drivers coming through Poulan relatively neatly. Still maintaining a gap of less than 1 second. Daniel chases down Harrison out in front. This is where the AMG is more well balanced. The front engined car coming through Blanchimont. You'll see that 0.9 of a second gap dwindle down. And Daniel knows that this is where he can strike when it is midnight. When both hands are pointing north, he can make a move into the bus stop chicane if he's close enough coming out of Stavelot in Campus. Checking in with the number 62, Peter Arundel, coming through La Source now. Down one position from where he started, looking pretty neat and tidy. Benson Sunday coming into the bus stop, driving the 868. Adi Nagel, number 78, your championship leader right now, in 5th place. Julian Narcé in 6th position, driving the BMW. Guilherme Silva, the 141 Audi, in 7th position. Morin Dupuy sitting in pit lane, and I believe that'll be Rolf and Jared out of this race as well. So down to just 7 drivers right now. And here is a good opportunity for Declan Daniel. The wiggle from the McLaren out in front. Ooh, big slide from the AMG, hitting the curb of the inside of the bus stop chicane. That will hurt his charge a little bit. 237.184, 237.166 for Daniel. Closing down, but not closing down enough, at least staying within spitting distance. Looks like on the timing tower, we will get this lap plus one more. We will finish on lap 23. '21 just being completed now by all the drivers still on track. And almost a touch coming down into Brussels from Declan Daniel. I think he's getting a little antsy in the pantsy now. Knows that the clock is ticking down. Has to make a move sooner rather than later. 1/10 separating the leaders. Moves to the outside line for Pouon. Knows that the inside line has not been working for him as of late. Insanity is the definition of doing something the same way every time, expecting different results, and Daniel might be going a little insane now, stuck behind that McLaren. Again, I believe we will get a bonus lap regardless of the 20 seconds remaining on the clock. Here the gap comes down between the two drivers. Daniel threatening 0.3 of a second back onto the brakes. Heavy braking zone coming into the bus stop chicane after carrying so much speed, upwards of 244 kilometers per hour. And we will get a bonus lap just in a blink of an eye. Traffic giveth, traffic taketh away. Looks like that's more deploy. Back on board. You can see how much the rain has subsided here at Spa-Francorchamps, but the cars still drifting around on the wet tarmac. Ooh, slight mistake from Jaden Harrison J, going a little too deep at Brussels. Closes down the gap between himself and the AMG through No Name, tight as ever. 4:10 separating the two drivers. On board with Declan Daniel. The driver from Trinidad and Tobago. Chasing down the Jamaican driver. Out in front, Jaden Harrison J. This is a perfect setup. Coming into campus. It's as close as ever. Into Stavlot, carry the speed. A little bit of a missed apex there from both drivers as they try to carry as much speed as possible. But this is as close as Declan Daniel has ever been going into the final lap. The checkered flag is flying, folks. Traffic moving out of the way of the leaders of this race. The battle is still on. Into the braking zone. Declan Daniel too far back to make a move. They almost touch. Into the braking zone on the accelerator. It'll be Jaden Harrison J taking home P1. And Declan Daniel in P2. Peter Arundel further back will bring home P3. Arundel in P3, Sunday in P4. Coming around campus, Stavelot next. The 868 will cross the line in P4, one position down from where he started the race. Following that will be Addy Nagel, the championship leader. Unconfirmed championship winner at this point in time. Quick break, real quick, as we get drivers ready for their interview. Stand by, folks. Just waiting for the official results now. And I believe we have the official results. Let's go ahead and take a look. We have Jaden Harrison J in P1, Declan Daniel in P2, Peter Arundel in third, Brendan Benson Day in fourth, Addie Nigel in fifth, Julian Arce in sixth, Gilherm Silva in seventh, Moore DePoy in eighth, Rolf Mooten in ninth, Jared Miller in 10th, Nathan Ford in 11th. Points overall now. Is this correct? We're going to have to get word from our stewards here, see if the results are in and accurate, but it looks like we have a tie for P2 now. This is correct. Addie Nigel in P1, Gilherm Silva in P2, tied with Peter Arundel in third, Julian Narce in fourth, Declan Daniel in fourth, Julian Narce in fifth, tied for fourth and fifth, two-way ties, Andrew Marsan in sixth, Moore DePoy in seventh, Taj Edwards in eighth, Jared Miller in 9th, Rolf Mutton in 10th, Jayden Harrison in 11th, Daniel Roberts in 12th, K. Moss in 13th, Gian Geyser in 14th, Benson Day in 15th, 16th for Hilton Nicholson, Kevin Jailer in 17th, Gergo Danko in 18th, Sander Singh in 19th, Cayman Eastman in 20th, Paulo Tellis, Ian Lance, Kevin Burke, Sanjin Arulin, Vladimir Eshlin, Frederick Powell, Alice Kaiser, James Torson, Dennis Korovtek, excuse my pronunciation, Michael Ross, and John Paul Mancia. Let's go ahead and get some people in for their interviews now. And I believe we should be ready to roll. And it looks like we are going to do interviews for the podium of the race. So let's pull in Jaden Harrison J. Let's pull him in just a moment's time. Hello, Jaden Harrison
Hello.
J. How are you?
Hello. What's up?
What is up? You're in the interview room right now. What an amazing race that you just had.
Yeah, for sure.
And you worked your way from the back of the pack out into P1. Tell us a little bit about how you did it.
Well, usually I think my biggest strong suit in sim racing and like real life racing is like with rain. I'm usually a lot faster than people faster than me in the dry in the wet. So I kind of assumed that I would kind of make my way up, although I didn't really get any practice. I just jumped in the rig like 5 minutes before the race. But yeah, I kind of assumed that that would go that way, but it was very tricky. A lot of people spun and crashed out, and yeah, it was just about a game of patience and knowing when to push and when to hold back.
Absolutely. You had an epic battle with Gilherm Silva as well as Declan Daniel. Tell us a little bit about how you managed to keep them behind you.
Um, well, because the track was so wet, there's only really one line you can do to stay, off the rubber, the wet line. So once like in the rain, this defending is pretty easy because if you stay on that line, they can't really do anything. So once just keep your line, keep patient, don't make any mistakes, get good exits, it's pretty straightforward. It's just don't let the rain force you into, getting on the gas early and making a slide or just patience.
Speaking of slides, you had a few of your own. How do you maintain your composure after you have big moments like that?
Well, as I say, usually, I would say, the rain master, so it wasn't really too difficult. There's one or two that was pretty big, but it's just a part of it, You just have to catch it. Like that's just a part of driving in the wet and stuff. With the tires overheating towards the end, it was tricky, but that's just a part of the game.
Absolutely. I'm glad I'm here in the broadcasting booth and not getting soaking wet. Drying conditions, did it play a factor in how you manage the conditions, or was it all pretty much you're driving it as if it was wet from start to finish?
I think because it dried out so quick, the sun was out, shining pretty hot. The tires started to boil. So, I'm not sure what Declan was doing, but towards the end, I was kind of looking for water, driving through puddles, being super careful with the steering wheel, not trying to push the car into the corner and overheat the tires. So, I think that would have set the grid apart in the dry because the tires were really starting to get hot.
Well, it was one of the keys to the race, and you managed to make it happen. Congratulations on the win, Jaden Harrison J. You did a phenomenal job of improving from down on the grid to first place. 7 positions gained off the good. Is there anybody that you want to thank or anybody that you want to mention before I pull in Peter Arundel next?
I'd like to kind of thank everybody for joining the championship. It was fun. We lost a few drivers today, but I mean, props to Daniel, Peter, Silva, really everybody on the grid for making such a good, clean race.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day and stay safe.
Yes, you too.
And we're going to be grabbing Peter Arundel next. Peter, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Sorry about that.
Just
Yeah, that
okay.
was a tough race for me. Yeah, just okay. That was quite tough.
Very tough race.
Very
Early
challenging
on
race.
incident for you, sent you down the pack, but you're one of the fastest drivers out there on the racing circuit. That's got to be a good feeling.
Yeah, well, I tried to put my head down and see how much I could come back. Hope the guys ahead would make a little mistake as well. Um, yeah, I think a couple of them did, but then I made quite a few more. So it was quite a challenging race, dealing with the conditions, the water, puddles in certain parts of the track that I couldn't see. So yeah, it was quite a
Absolutely.
challenge.
It looked like it was a very challenging endurance race for sure. The drying conditions playing a big part in everybody's race. Did you feel like the track was gripping up at all, or as if you were gaining more pace? Because you were chopping away like a lumberjack. At one point, there was a 30-second deficit to the cars in front. At the race finish, down to 23 seconds. Like I said, you were one of the fastest drivers out there.
Yeah, well, I did feel the grip coming up, and then I think I got a little overconfident. So what I realized I was doing is I was setting a fastest lap. The next lap I would spin in Eau Rouge and Radion. Then I would settle back in, set another fast lap, and I did that over and over again. So yeah, thankfully I didn't do too many of those spins, but yeah, while I was able to claw back some time, it definitely was putting a lot on the line.
Definitely was. And how did the Porsche fare in these wet weather conditions? You're obviously one of the only Porsche drivers out on circuit. Top 3, all different manufacturers. Love to see it. But tell us a little bit about your driving style. Did you have to adapt at all? Is this your normal car that you drive? Tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, this is a normal car that I drive, especially in rainy conditions. So I'm glad I picked this car for the series. But yeah, I don't think I was accustomed to this much water on a track. So even though I have driven the Porsche in the rain before, this one was a little bit different to what I'm accustomed to.
Definitely looked that way for certain. Definitely trickiest conditions I've seen in a long time, and especially on a platform that develops the track so well. The wet conditions are very, very wet and tricky. The puddles that you mentioned, very large and substantial, sometimes blind as if they were in real life, right? So very tricky conditions to get around, but you managed to do pretty well for yourself. Recovering into P3, Peter Arundel, is there anybody that you want to mention or anybody you want to thank before I pull in Callie from the cool down room?
I'd like to thank all the organizers of this competition. It's been a lot of fun, the entire series. Been nice to race with people from around the Caribbean and outside of the region. So yeah, I'm really glad they put the series on, and also thanks to all the other Calypso Racing team for doing practices all together. So yeah, so Callie and Ben Sunday and a few of the guys who weren't able to make this race, but yeah.
Who is Callie, by the way?
Well, I think he's one of the founding members of Calypso Racing, so he's been around for quite a while.
Well, we'll pull him in just a second. Thank you so much, Peter Arundel, for joining me in the broadcast booth. Really appreciate the interview, and we'll pull in Callie next. Have a wonderful day, and make sure you stay safe out there.
You too. Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Callie. How do you do?
I'm good. How are you?
I am living the dream. Nothing I would rather be doing on my Saturday afternoon than watching some good action-packed racing. I just love this stuff, and I hope you do too.
Yeah, not today so much, but P3, I'll take it.
P3? Are you?
Sorry, P2.
P2. So you are Declan Daniel.
Correct.
Okay. Daniel, what an amazing...
Oh, yeah. You threw you off, right?
Yeah,
Sorry
I apologize.
Yeah.
What an amazing battle with Jaden Harrison Jay that you had for the last, half of the race. You pit behind him. You went long during the pit stop cycle, a lap extra. You came out just in front of him. You did an 18.13 pit stop time, knocked out 3 seconds just like that, came out in the lead of the race. What was going through your head?
What was going through my head? I hate Jaden Harrison. That's what's going through my head. There's nobody you want to see less behind you than Jay. So yeah, that was I thought I would get the undercut, but I didn't think he would be that close to me. I thought it would have been a bigger gap, honestly.
Oh man. Oh man.
Yeah.
But still an amazing battle between the two of you. Minute mistakes traded here and there. Where were you
Yeah.
thinking that you were faster or that you wanted to make an attacking opportunity?
Through Bruxelles into No Name, I was definitely faster. But I couldn't keep with him and through Pujon. And then into Piff Paff, I was again faster. Out of these tableaus, he was faster. So it was just back and forth, and every sector, I have a little advantage. Another sector he does. So yeah, it was just a little tough.
So true. I was watching the timing tower in the interval just flutter away and back towards you. I expected you to make a leaping move into the bus stop chicane, and you did at the very last lap, at the very last corner. Was that your last ditch effort to try to make a move on Jaden Harrison J?
Yeah, I was hoping he would make it. No, he did make a few mistakes, but they were so small that I couldn't really get alongside him. And just like he said, if you stay on the racing line, well, not the racing line, if you stay off the racing line, there's really one line you can drive. So getting alongside him means I'm on the rubber line now, and I can't really. There's no grip. I just couldn't get any traction to get on the accelerator before he could. And then there was a point where we went through, I think it was Piff Paff, entering Piff Paff, and we made contact, and I had steering damage from there to the end. So it was from a nothing contact, I had steering damage. It was just annoying.
Tragic. One of the most frustrating things sometimes is having those nothing contacts and then getting substantial damage and really throwing off your race, and having to deal with something like steering damage is huge for a track like Spa-Francorchamps. So the fact that you even finished the race in good standings and were able to battle towards the end shows huge strides in what you're able to accomplish. That 3.9 rating is no joke, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was challenging. We saw Peter catching at the end. But I don't think either of us were really pushing at that point. We were just trying to stay alive and not make mistakes. So it didn't really matter that the gap was closing. I didn't think there was enough in the race for him to catch us. So it was just trying not to make a mistake at the end there, especially with my left hand down on the steering to go straight. It's just a matter of staying alive at that point.
For sure. And tire wear. I know that Jaden Harrison J and Peter Arundel talked about it a little bit. Tires overheating towards the end, just becoming a nuisance. Did you have to deal with that as well?
Yeah, that was tough. That was the toughest part. I saw Jaden seeking water at some down the streets and that kind of thing. It didn't help much. I tried it as well at some point, but the sun came out and the rain just stopped at the same time, and it just started to boil. There was you put your foot down too hard exiting anywhere, and you're just going to spin around. So you have to be super careful.
Wow. Super tricky conditions, going from standing puddles of water everywhere, soaking wet conditions, down to the drying track and boiling, overheating tires. Must have been very, very tricky to contend with.
I want to have a strong word with the person who set this up, man.
Oh wow, super crazy. You're gonna have to argue with Moore and Dupuy.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Right on.
It's all good. That was you learn from things like this, you get better from things like this. So it's all good.
100%. Great attitude to have for sure. And we're going to go ahead and wrap things up with you. Is there anybody that you want to mention or anybody that you want to thank before I bring in the championship winner, Addie Nagel?
My team, CRC, big up you guys. GSRA, Jaden, Stephen for streaming before your stream, of course. He did a really great job there. Yeah, and you and Mornay, thanks for putting this on. Thanks for streaming today. Thanks for the broadcast. I'm gonna look back at it for sure. and all the drivers who took part. Great job. Was really fun driving with you guys, and we'll see each other during the Porsche Challenge.
Absolutely. We will see you during the Porsche Challenge. Have a great night and stay safe, brother.
Thank you. Bye.
Bringing in Annie Nagel. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that somewhat right and not completely butchering it. Congratulations on the championship win, sir.
Thank you very much.
How does it feel to come out on top?
Great. It's always great. Tough race this last one, but so was the season, and it was a great season. Thanks.
Yeah, P5, pretty quiet event for yourself. It looked like you were just trying to keep it alive and stay on the racing circuit. It's just what the feeling I had was. What was going through your head when you saw these tricky conditions?
Well, basically, just like you said, finishing the race, getting some points. Going into this race, I knew I wouldn't be caught up with points, so the championship was already mine. So yeah, it was, I wouldn't say easy race, tough conditions, but just had to finish.
Absolutely. If you want to finish first you have to finish is the greatest saying of all times, and you definitely pulled it off and secured the points that you needed to validate the championship standings. Like you said, you could have sat at home and done nothing and still possibly won, but you showed up and battled through the arduous conditions that were in front of you. Talk to us a little bit about your race. Any good battles we may have missed? Any exciting moments? Any Code Brown moments that we may have missed?
Excited moments, not as much. Like you said, I was basically on my own on the track. Code Brown, I had a couple of those. There was a time where I went 360 with a vehicle. So yes, there was a couple. Luckily, I kept it out of the wall. So yeah.
That's why they didn't show up on my incident reports, as you've managed to keep it out of the wall. Well, good for you, Addy. Anybody that you want to mention or anybody that you'd like to thank before we wrap things up with you?
Yeah, just thanks to Mornay and Sky Media and the event, all the organizers. Thanks, it was great.
Great to have you. Thank you very much for joining me in the booth. And will we see you for the Porsche Challenge coming up next?
No, for sure you will.
Absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful night and stay safe.
Thank you, you too.
And I believe next we're going to pull in Peter Arundel. Pull in Peter. Peter, again we speak.
Yes. Yes.
P2 in the championship. Oh, looks like I moved you back on accident. Back in the championship ring, you secured P2.
Yes. Well, I guess I had some consistent performances up at the front in the top few the races I did. I think I had one win. Where was that, at Daytona? But definitely, like the first few races, I was doing a lot of fuel saving, which seemed to be very effective in getting a high position in the races.
Yeah, it looks like nothing but podiums attached to your name. I'm looking at round 2, P1, round 3, P2, and 3 and 3 for round 5 and round 6. So very consistent overall.
Yes, well, it was challenging with the guys who were competing in the series, but glad I was able to put in some good performances and get those results.
Absolutely fantastic. What do you do to secure your victories or secure your podiums? Is it a lot of practice? Is it a lot of consistency? What are you striving for throughout these races?
Definitely try to do a good bit of practice, at least just to get a sense of how the races will play out. Like, definitely the first few races, I was looking to see if I could stretch the fuel so that I would only have to do one pit stop, because I knew if I pushed in most of the races that I would end up having to do 2 pit stops, and the time loss in that second pit stop it was too much. So doing a single pit stop definitely made a huge difference with that. Besides that, just trying to make sure I didn't make too many mistakes in the races, and try to just try to have good results.
Well, you definitely pulled it off, Peter. Congratulations on securing P2. It was absolutely nip and tuck. You actually tied with Silva there, but due to 5 points penalty being removed from your name, as I'm told from the stewards, it looks like you clinched P2 in front of Silva.
Yeah, well, I knew it was going to be close with all the guys ahead, especially as I missed the first race. I would have liked to make the race, but I wasn't sure if I could do the series. So yeah, just decided to try and get some good results in all the remainder races, and glad to see it paid off in the end.
Absolutely, it did. Will we see you next season for the Porsche Cup?
I hope so. I will do my best to make it.
I hope you make it a priority.
Do some
as
negotiations. I have to do some negotiations with my wife. So, but once those go well, I will be there for the series.
Awesome. Well, very much looking forward to seeing you back next season. Is there anybody else that you want to mention, or anybody that you want to thank? Hint, hint, your wife.
Yeah, definitely want to thank my wife for allowing me the time to do these races on Saturdays, and yeah, all the other guys at Calypso Racing who encouraged me to join the series. I'm glad that they did, because it was a lot of fun. Not only that I did well, but just the racing in general has been very good, clean racing, and it's nice to be around people you kind of know. So, and to build that regional championships, it definitely is a nice thing to be part of.
100%. That is very true. Looking forward to seeing you back next season. Thank you very much for joining me, Peter. Have a wonderful night and stay safe as always.
You too. Thank you very much.
Take care, brother.
Okay, bye.
Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. Thank you very much for staying tuned down to the bitter end, through the interviews, through all of the action-packed racing that we had to endure. Oh, no. It was so exciting. An hour flew by in a blink of an eye. Watch it back on YouTube if you missed it live. This was an amazing event to be had. Thank you very much to the organizers of this event, the Sim Racers Room. It's been a pleasure to be your host. I am Sagar Bakshi, aka The Real High. Please join us next season where we're racing the Porsche Cups around some very iconic tracks. Hope to see you there. If you're interested in joining us, please take a look at the Discord link in the top right-hand corner of your screen right now. Scan it with your phone. It'll get sent right over to the racing action. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful night. And as always, make sure you stay safe out there. Bye-bye.